episode of Black Girls React. I am Nik.
And I'm Tiffani.
And this is all for our Black Girls Do Stuff Too, whether you listen to us on the podcast, or you go to our website and read what we write, or now you're here on YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to cover two things in our reaction. We're doing Pennyworth, the new TV show that's coming to Epix Networks.
Pennyworth, not to be confused with Pennywise.
Not the clown, guys. Not the clown. And we're going to do The Lion King because we saw it this morning. So, you know, I have on my Lion King gear. She skinned an animal. I care about animals more.
This is acrylic. And it's like falling on my shoulder.
So we're going to get into it. And because you guys really liked it last time, at the end of this, we're going to cover some of the previews that were shown before the movie. Obviously, these are going to be kid-focused because it's a kid's movie.
Except for the one.
Right, which we'll talk about. So it'll be kid-focused, but then if you have kids, or if you're like us and you have nieces and nephews, it's something that you can go and see. Or if you're like us and you like... Right. I was going to say if you're like us and you like kid movies.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I don't kidnap babies, so that's just her. Alright, so what we'll do is get into it. I guess we'll start with Pennyworth, right? Okay, so we'll start with Pennyworth. Brief background about the show, not the concept. For me, it's coming to, like I said, Epix Network. It starts July 28th. For those of you who don't have Epix, it's a movie channel, but it's cheaper than like HBO or Showtime. Yeah,
it's really cheap.
So it is a movie channel, but if you have a movie package on your cable,
it usually comes with it.
Yeah, you usually have it because it really is cheaper. So it's coming there. I want to say this is their first like series show. Like, no,
they have.
I mean, within the DC, within the DC universe. I didn't finish my sentence because you already started saying no, and I'm like, it's not. But she didn't know it was in my brain.
She just amended it.
No. I was about to say it, and you cut me off so fast. Like, no. So it's the first one within the DC universe. DCEU. I don't know what the E is. Entertainment.
I don't even think are they the EU?
Yeah, they're DCEU.
Entertainment universe.
Okay, so it's coming. We went and saw. We actually received an invitation, and we were able to go to a screening here in DC, which was really cool. We were at the AMC Mazda Gallery, which is in Friendship Heights in DC. It kind of sits on the line of DC and Chevy Chase, Maryland. So yeah, we went there. We saw people wouldn't move over. They were holding seats, and then I had to sit next to a guy who ate popcorn really, really loudly.
He did. I was sitting in front of her, and I could hear him to the point where he started crinkling up his thing, and the old man and me I was sitting next to, we made friends. We both turned around and looked at him like...
Yeah, like, and he was pretty nice, but he wouldn't have even been next to me had it not been for the fact that, like, the guy and his girlfriend had, like, 2 seats saved and they only needed 1. So I was pretty upset about that. And he ended up sitting next to me. I got a payback because I was being spiteful because she put her purse in the empty seat. After I asked, I was like, oh, so nobody's sitting here? Meaning you guys were saving seats knowing it was 2 of us. And she was like, no. So when the guy was looking for a seat, I was like, this is open right here. This is open. You can sit here. Sure, her purse didn't have a seat, okay? And then I got paid back because he was a very loud eater.
You both got paid back.
Yeah.
So you both got repaid for your kindness.
I'm okay because me and the guy made friends and he put his popcorn away. So I think he understood he was eating.
He's very loud putting it away.
Right. But then he didn't make any more noise. So I won.
That is true.
So let's get into the show itself. I'll let Tiffani, because you know a little bit more about the background of Pennyworth, right?
Kind of.
I think than I do. I know some, but I think you know more.
I know a little bit about Alfred, mostly from when they do flashbacks in the comics, especially during the Big Owl. I'm sorry, I don't know why that scared me. The Big Owl Society thing that they had for the last 52. And they go into his background a little bit more. Like, he's ex-British military, also intelligent. He comes from a long line of butlers, and this is just about him
in his younger days
while how he got introduced to Thomas Wayne,
yeah, the Wayne family. So he was British military, British intelligence. And so this is pretty much just covering him in his younger days, some of his early relationships, like Tiff said, how he gets introduced into the Wayne family, and just kind of what is going on in the climate of Britain at that time. That's what we gathered. We saw the first episode, so we should specify.
Yes.
We saw the first episode.
It's
we
about
didn't
an hour
watch.
and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
So
A little bit.
episode.
Yeah, it's a longer episode, kind of setting things up. It could have been an hour. It could have been 45 minutes. In my personal opinion.
I agree.
I don't think it needs to be as long as it was.
Because the beginning for me kind of dragged. Like, I understood what they were doing. They're trying to set up Alfred. They're setting up his life, his living situation, how he meets his new girlfriend, and trying to flesh them out, I guess, as much as they wanted to. They didn't have to do it.
They didn't, because even what they didn't make a whole lot of sense. Just because, like...
They skipped a lot. Because it was like they went on a date in the park, and then suddenly they're together.
But it was only 2 weeks in between time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I did forget about that.
Yeah, it was only 2 weeks in between time. So, since it was only 2 weeks, I'm like, y'all have to go through all this with that. So, I wrote that too. I wrote it took, it felt, to me, it dragged, but at the same time felt rushed.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a lot of action, so I'll say that's why it felt slower.
You want to know why there wasn't a lot of action? Because I think that the main actor for Alfred, I think that he does an amazing job acting-wise with him.
He is not.
He's not an action star at all.
I wrote, just don't believe Alfred as a fighter.
No, like, it's just, he's very stiff when he does things.
Yeah.
Like, it almost looks like he fumbles with, like, there's a lot of times where he hits people with guns. I'll just go ahead and say that. That's his main weapon of choice, is slapping people with guns.
Yeah, like, not to kill people, but to hurt them or injure them.
He doesn't want to kill people anymore. But, like, the way that he, like, would flip it around, it almost looked like he was 2 seconds away from dropping it, and then he just went like this, and then they kept that take.
Yeah, so, like, so what I was saying before that is that it felt slow action-wise, but it felt rushed story-wise. So, it's a confusing feeling because it takes 38 minutes for you to feel like, okay, I can get more into this. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like you have all the details of the story because they're just giving you boom, 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 boom. Like, oh, we have to get the story to this point, so we're just gonna give it all to you right here.
The last season of Game of Thrones.
Kinda, yeah. She's still mad. She's still real mad. I'm over it, but she's still real mad. So I definitely have that note. I'm looking down, guys, because I have my notes here, and
she can't see.
I can't. I don't want to put my glasses because there's a glare. I also wrote, like, very much, like, the Michael Caine Alfred.
Yes, because he even has, like, the
Cockney accent.
I was going to say, but I wasn't sure that was politically correct, so I didn't say it.
Why, is that a bad adjective?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought that was just the area.
It is, but I'm saying I don't know if that's right.
Oh. That's what I know it as. If we're wrong, then let us know. I thought that was okay. I'm not British. I want a Brit, but I'm not British. So let us know if that's wrong. But yeah, he definitely has like that Michael Caine.
Like he's not posh.
Yeah, he's not. He calls that out of the girl he's dating, like that she talks more posh. But
and then I also noticed with this show too that if you don't know a lot about British culture, you'll be confused because they brought up the fact that his girlfriend's dad is a vicar. So that meant that she was super posh. And I was like, I thought a vicar was like a pastor. Is that not right? I had to like go off to the side and Google.
I mean, there's just like a lot of British slang.
Yeah.
There's like different things that like they call each other insults. And I was like, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But then apparently it was really bad because people got really angry about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know, because it's not even pop culture British stuff. It's like being super actual British to understand. So to an American audience, I don't know if that would be off-putting to some people who maybe enjoy the comics, but the comics are definitely not written from a British point of view. So that, I don't know, it could be confusing. I don't know.
Also, I would say to watch with subtitles because their British accent is super British.
And it's some of them, they're not all like that accent of like Michael Caine or posh. Some of them are like very regional, and like I said, they use the slang, and some of them talk fast. I mean, just like you would see for American TV, some people talk fast, some people mumble, some people slur. So already having a disadvantage of not understanding, you're confused a little bit. So then moving on past like the story, I guess I wrote some character notes for people who kind of stood out to me. One person, so there's a scene where there's some drug use and there's a man and a woman in the scene, and I was like, that girl was acting badly. She's like, I'm sad. Like, he said something to her, she was like, like, they were like, act sad, and she was like, okay, I got it. Like, so, like, that definitely, like, I don't know, that got me, but I did want to shout out, like, the costume director, because the outfits are on point, and they really set up, like, when the bad guy walked in, he walked in like a bad bitch. He had a cape on, it had fur on the side, he, like, swung it around, and I was like,
very flamboyant.
Right, and I was like, okay, but the cape, like, didn't seem over the top, because he just seemed like the type of character
that would
who would wear something like that and then would treat it that way. So, like, the costuming choices were really great. We should have looked up who that was. I'll try to figure out who that is and write it down for you guys.
Right there at the bottom.
Yeah, in the description, like, right there. And then, I wrote Thomas Wayne. He's bae. Like,
what show is he from again?
He is from Fleabag. Yeah, so when I was watching, I didn't even realize that was him, because he has this, like, mustache, and in Fleabag he is
British.
Yeah, but the whole show's British.
Oh, okay.
But he has, like, except for one character is an American guy. He's such a douche. But he has the clean face, or just, like, maybe a little stubble or something. But he doesn't have, like,
not a porn stash.
Yeah, he had a porn stash. But because of the time period, I let it go. Because if anybody knows me, I don't like a solo mustache. It's creepy. To me, there's, like, 3 types of people who have those mustaches. Porn stars, racist cops, and pedophiles. Ooh. They're it. They're the only ones who really ever have that. And I'm sorry if you have one. I'm sorry if you have one, but that's, like, the stereotype, I'll say. Not, like, the only people who have them, but those are the stereotypical people who stand out to me.
Outside of the 70s.
Right, but because this is a period piece,
it fits.
It fits, because this does take place, like, back. I would say based on the styling, I'm guessing it's like around
30s or 20s-ish.
No, because Batman is supposed to be born in the what?
60s?
Is he? 60s? 70s? So this is probably around the 50s.
Because
it depends on when it is. Yeah. I would say for this one, it's probably like around the
30s or 40s.
I don't know when wars happen. There's a war. I don't know history very well, so
if we're going off of the big wars around that time, it's either in the 20s or the teens. No, the teens, or the 40s.
I know the War of 1812. Because it happened in 1812.
It's not the War of 1812.
It's the only one I know. I only can tell you when wars happen when the year is in it. And that's only the War of 1812. I actually don't know any other wars that have the date in them. So, sorry guys.
Also, the other character that stood out for both of us is the main villain lady played by Paloma Faith. Mm-hmm. I don't know. She's one of the British actors that if you've watched a lot of British TV shows, you've seen her face.
Okay. Because she looked familiar, but I also, like, couldn't place her. Mm-hmm. But she really stood out. Her character is Sykes.
She's crazy.
She's
not
insane.
Well at all.
She is insane.
As Alfred's mother told her.
But she's, like, so good. Mm-hmm. Like, so good at playing that. And I'm trying to do this without giving you, like, all the plot details, because we want you to watch the show. And then, like I put, the standout performers for me were Thomas Wayne, Sykes, and then a friend that he had. He was the red-haired friend. His name was Dave Boy or Wallace, and he was played by Ryan Fletcher, and he was hilarious, like crazy, didn't listen, off the wall, but super, super loyal. Right. And all of that was, like, conveyed very well in a short period of time that he had on screen.
I agree.
I would say. So he stood out to me. So I would say my main takeaway was it's going to take me like 3 episodes to decide. If you listen to our podcast, I've said before, I usually don't commit to a show before 3 episodes.
And I'll commit if I like the characters. And I liked Alfred, even though I don't buy him as an action hero. I liked the actor that played him. The actor. He was very charismatic, I think. And his name was
I have him, Jack Bannon.
And he's from Medici. It's a Netflix show about the Medici family for all of you history buffs out there.
I watched Tudors.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm not a history buff, but I like that show. Let me see. So Jack Bannon, I think we mentioned, that's his name. He played Alfred. We didn't say who played Thomas Wayne, did we? I said he was from Fleabag, but his name is Ben Aldridge. Mm-hmm. And then we named the other characters. Oh, the main antagonist, his name is Hansley Lloyd Bennett.
And
He plays a bad guy named Dion.
Hensley Lloyd Bennett is his friend, his black friend.
Oh, I thought you said that was his name.
I said his black friend.
Oh, look, I done gave y'all the wrong name and everything.
The bad guy is played by Jason Fleming.
I kept asking you, what's the bad guy's name? Jason Fleming. I didn't know his name at all. I had seen his face, but I didn't know his name. But he plays a bad guy named Dion. I've never met a white guy named Dion in my life, especially not back in the 30s or whenever this is supposed to take place. So that's just really funny to me.
You're showing our stereotypes here.
I said, no, it's not a stereotype. I said, I never met in my personal 33 years of life. I've never met a white guy named Dion. And I have 2 Dions in my family. 3 Dions in my family.
He plays Lord Harwood.
Wait, what?
Lord Harwood.
Okay. Don't listen to anything that I say about the bad guy.
Dion is the black friend.
Okay, so I have all of that wrong. So that's why it didn't make sense to me. So a white guy isn't playing somebody named Dion here, which makes more sense. I'm like, what? Who is this? Goodness gracious. See, you know why? Because I didn't look it up myself. I should have put on my glasses.
You know who usually does the
You weren't
Googles?
listening to me. You gave me the information.
I kept saying, I said Ainsley, is the black friend. I legit said that.
I wrote down everything she said on here. You saw the one thing that I had wrong. She shouldn't even gave me information for somebody I didn't ask about.
She said she didn't like him, and I said,
No. I didn't say I didn't like him. He didn't stand out to me, so I didn't care about him.
That's what she said. She said she didn't care about him, and then I said, oh. And then she said, what was his name again?
The bad guy, because that's what I asked you for before you gave me the black guy. So the writers are Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon, and they're also the executive producers. Mm-hmm. And then there's multiple directors on different episodes. I think 6 are listed on the IMDb page, so, you know, eventually it'll be revealed who did what. I don't know who did the first episode. You don't know who did the first episode either, right?
I'm trying to do my Googles.
Yeah, so we don't have that yet, but what we recommended, I would say it's worth tuning into the first one to decide if you want to continue with it. Like I said, for me, I am going to watch it for at least 3 episodes and then come back and let you guys know if I am continuing to watch it, because at this point, I'm just not sure. It seems like it has potential and it could be good, but I'm not as invested at this point. And when it comes to TV, I have to really like it to stay on board.
Especially
with
for cable, because you're paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. The director is Danny Cannon.
Oh, okay. So he directed the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and that could also change how different episodes come across too, because
and it's also the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And pilots tend to be kind of stilted because they're still trying to get everything together. So
we'll see. Do you recommend them to watch it, or?
I would say give it a couple of first episodes. I was entertained, especially towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It really picked up.
The end of the episode, like I said, it takes about 40 minutes to get into it, and then the last 15 minutes are the best.
Yeah, and I feel like it premieres on a Sunday.
July 28th is a Sunday.
So it's a nice little Sunday summer show that you can just watch. I think.
At least tune in.
Give it a...
Yeah, at least tune in. Like I said, I would say watch the first one. You might be like me and have to do 3. Because I have to do 3. That's my cutoff time.
The end of it, I think, sold me on it. To the point where I'll be there for episode 2.
Yeah, like I said, the last 15 minutes, really good. All right, so let's move on to The Lion King. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of this review. And that is The Lion King. It was so good, guys. To me, it was so good. But we'll go through in a much organized way, more organized way than we did for Pennyworth. So The Lion King, directed by Jon Favreau, which if you probably know him for playing Happy in Iron Man, he's acted in a lot of things. He's directed quite a few things. Some of his works as a director we'll focus on because he did direct this and he's not actually in the movie. It's Iron Man 1 and 2. He's done a couple episodes of The Office, of Young Sheldon. You said About a Boy,
the TV
show. And I think not the whole thing, right?
No,
just a couple episodes. Okay. Yeah. And then Chef, which is one of my top 5 movies of all time. The writers on this, Jeff Nathanson, who did Rush Hour 2, Catch Me If You Can, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Dead Men Tell No Tales.
It's always funny to hear people pronounce Caribbean because they say it different. It's either Caribbean or Caribbean.
And then the screenplay. was by Brenda Chapman, who is a Disney hero. We looked her up. I mean, she's written for Brave, Beauty and the Beast, the original Lion King. Yes. So many Disney classics that she's had her hands in, which is just great to bring that like past.
And I also like that they brought back the original writer for the animated version to bring to the live action.
Right, because I think they have a good idea of like, okay, we want to change some things, we want to add some things.
But they know how to do it in a way that enriches the story and doesn't
change it completely. Yeah. And then music was Hans Zimmer, who's done like everything.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, Face Off,
Interstellar, Inception,
any Christopher Nolan movie he did it.
Yeah, so I mean, really, really, really good works under his belt. Which we don't have to say this. He's won multiple awards and he's done so much that like our opinion is kind of like okay, whatever.
Great.
So getting into the movie, I'll say overview. It definitely follows the original storyline. So you know the story. It doesn't change much.
It enriches it. It enriches it. Yeah. Different. Like if you had questions for what happened during certain periods of time that they didn't show in the cartoons, or they expanded on certain things. I'm trying not to spoil because you know I love to spoil.
We'll talk about that. Then we'll get into like what some of those changes were.
Yes.
Afterward.
So those added scenes and the things that they changed, I thought were great.
Yeah.
They were great additions. I wasn't mad at them.
Some of the things that I wrote were, The Lion King is actually my favorite Disney movie. So I went into it just completely like I'm not even going to compare it to the old movie because I didn't want to be disappointed. And I think that helped me in a way of like I'm not comparing it to something that's my favorite, but also it opened my mind up to accept the things that were lacking in the original one because you see it from a kid's perspective and it gives you enough as a child, but then as you become a movie lover and you start to really look at writing and the script and the storyline and things like that, you understand that there are elements missing, and like we just said, it enhanced the story. And it didn't change it so much, but it even made me have appreciation for certain characters more than I did in the original versions. Just because like Timon, and part of that is because I freaking love Billy Timon.
Okay,
Billy Eichner. I don't know how to say his last name, but Billy on the Street.
Did you see the video of when they got to meet Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and he's standing off to his side? He was like, should I say, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. He was like, oh no, Keegan didn't do it.
I didn't see the video, but I love him. Like, he's so funny to me. He's funny when he does Billy on the Street. He's funny in American Horror Story. He was fantastic in this movie. He was great in Mean People, Nice People. It's an Amazon Prime show, and I've watched or a Hulu show, and I've watched the whole season. The whole first season is so funny. Like, he's just amazing. And so him bringing himself into Timon really made him now, like, I even wrote in my notes, I am obsessed with Timon. Like, he's my favorite character in this movie.
I liked Pumbaa, too.
Yeah, I did like Pumbaa.
The original cartoon, Timon and Pumbaa were definitely highlights. That didn't change.
Exactly. Give it a second.
And I thought Seth Rogen brought a lot to that role.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people were mad that Desus and Mero, I guess, a lot of people thought they were going to get it, but no shade to them because I love them, but I don't think they could have done what those Billy and Seth did together.
No, and I never would have, for me personally, I never would have put them as Timon and Pumbaa. They just don't fit the style. I don't know what Disney movie they would fit the style of, to be honest. So I never would have even considered them for that. Like, I mean, shouts out to the fan of them. Like we said, we're fans of theirs, and
that's what Seth
enjoy their content.
Was saying. Yeah. A lot of people were in his mentions talking about how he stole roles from them. He was like, I promise I didn't.
Yeah, no. To be honest, if y'all want to be for real, they were probably not considered. No. They were probably not considered. You guys considered them. But the people who were actually making the movie did not consider them for that role.
Who did the movie knew what they were doing.
Right. Because they really did cast it well. So, all in all, I would recommend you to go and see it. I think that it's done very, very well. It's something that's a new generation, like a new piece of content for a new generation, because kids today, they watch cartoons, but not as long as we did, like not until they're as old as we did. And their cartoons are even different than ours. So you can share a story with a younger generation that came in a different format, and everybody can enjoy what they enjoy, whether it's both of them or one or the other. So, oh no, go see it with no expectations. Just go and see it and like enjoy the movie for what it is. That's it.
I'm trying not to spoil things.
Okay, so at this point, we're going into spoilers. Please don't come for me. Because I'm telling you, because people were like, well, you guys spoiled. We did. The title says that it's spoiled. We tell you in the description when the spoilers start.
I don't talk during parts where we don't spoil
I warned you that the spoilers were coming. Even after we went into the spoiler section, I made us wait like another 30, 40 seconds to say, stop watching. We're spoiling. Okay, we're about to spoil. We're spoiling the movie, and honestly, you probably saw Lion King. We can't spoil that much. We're just telling you the extra scenes at this point. So stop watching right now.
If you see my lips moving, don't watch because I spoil everything.
Basically. So now we're into spoilers. Here's your chance to continue to walk away. All right, let's get into spoilers. So now we can talk about like some of the enhanced scenes, enhancements to the characters, stuff we liked, stuff we didn't like. Because there were things that I actually didn't like in the movie, even though I liked it overall. Yeah, even though I liked the movie overall, there were things I didn't like necessarily for certain characters, and you know, so we can just kind of get into that. So you just gave a spoiler. You can continue.
Oh, well, what I was saying earlier is that come to this movie knowing that you are basically watching a National Geographic version of The Lion King. It's their production of The Lion King. Like the animation on this, amazing. Like it literally at some parts I forgot that it was animation. Because it was so well done, honestly, the detail work.
Yeah, sometimes I was like, dang, how did they get that lion to do that? Because that's what it seems like they trained real animals instead of like it being CGI. It just doesn't look fake at all.
And I'm someone who, I know this might sound weird, but I love watching the way animals move. Like the way that their muscles move underneath their skin when they walk, and even like how they sit down a lot of times, like they plop, like they're so tired. And they captured all of that. Like they did an amazing job on animation. So whoever was the animation team, bravo to you.
Yeah, I actually wrote down like it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie to watch, and it's like it's very apparent that talented people, the best 100%. In the industry, worked on this because. Like, I mean, not even the animals, the scene, the scenery, the way that the light would, like...
reflect off of the water.
Well, reflect off. There was a scene in particular, the scene that I actually cried on, which wasn't Mufasa dying. It was when Mufasa and Simba were talking after he rescues them from the elephant graveyard. Yeah. Because it was just so sweet. And, like, to have the live action and the voices behind it, it did actually bring that scene to life a little bit more for me. But the scene starts with the sun at dusk, and then it goes all the way out, and so the light changes, and it goes from like dusk to nighttime, and then they start playing, and it literally felt like you were outside somewhere watching the sun go down on these two creatures having a conversation. And I just looked at how beautifully it was done. Like the people who worked on this like really thought about everything, because a lot of times, and even in animation with a sunset in particular, it kind of like fades, but it doesn't fade like a real sunset. It's just like fade. Like, you know, and it was just perfect because there were scenes where they were running around, the camera was moving around them, and the sun hadn't set all the way over in the west. So it hadn't set all the way over there. So you still saw like some dust on the horizon, which was like super, super cool. And I just think that, whoever did this movie should like never have a shortage of work.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were great. I did say though, one of the things that I will criticize is I didn't expect the animals' mouths to move as if they were humans or their eyes to move. I didn't expect it like they did in the animation.
Critique of yours, yeah.
Yeah, of the animation. But there were parts where I even felt like as an animal, there wasn't enough expression. Like, because like, you know, I'm clearly not an expert on animals because I don't go around them.
Just don't like them.
But I'm enough. Don't say I don't like them. I hate when people say that because I actually care very deeply for animals. I don't want them in my space. But like there was a scene when like Mufasa was yelling at Simba, and
she wanted him to duck more.
Like, yeah, like he didn't react. Like he looked kind of like, okay, like.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, even when you fuss at a dog, he dog. Like cowers a little bit, you know.
My
like,
dog will turn to the side and give you that look.
Yeah, like they do that. They like kind of go down, their ears move, you know. So there were some moments where I was like, okay, I expect his mouth to be rounded. It's a lion when he's singing, right? But like animal movements and things that they naturally do would have been nice to see in some moments to convey the emotion that you lose from going from animation to live action, because that's the one thing animation can do better than the live action animation is you can give them over exaggerated hyperbole like facial expressions or more human facial expressions because it's animation, and if you want to keep it realistic you wouldn't do that.
Or
it's gonna go
or the animals will not dress and drag and do the hula. That's not going to happen. They're also not going to stack on top of each other during a big grand musical number.
I'm not gonna lie, I wanted the hula, but I did. Like I didn't think that they were gonna dress in the hula like the outfits, but I did think they were gonna like sing the song, you know. But they didn't. But I like what they did. And I won't even tell you guys because I think that is actually a moment that you have to see for yourself. Like that was great. It was really funny. One of the things that I also want to say that I love was just like the jokes that they made about their own movie, but the animated version.
It was almost like with Timon and Pumbaa. Sometimes it was almost like watching Deadpool Disney version. Yes, because
they would call themselves out from the animated version. Like this, if you watch the original. Lion King. Yeah, he's like, how did I feel? I became downhearted. How did you feel? Every time that I Pumbaa, not in front of the kids. That was the animated version, and this time he went full out. He's like, are you gonna stop me?
He's like, no, you disgust me.
Right. So it was just like really funny that the end of Hakuna Matata was like,
you grew 400 pounds over the course of this song. Right. Song. So it's time to stop singing now.
So it was like really funny just to see like those moments or whatever, them calling each other out, calling out other Disney movies. That was really nice. They kept
baby pig.
Oh my goodness. They showed a baby Pumbaa and I was like, give me that baby. So the one animal I do want in my space, I love pigs.
Because they're clean.
They are. They're really clean animals. And
most people don't think so. But
they don't because they roll around in mud, but it's because they don't have pores and they can't sweat and they need to cool themselves down. And I'm tired of people coming from pigs because I want one very, very badly.
This has been a special moment with Monique.
Yeah. It's a very, very... I can educate you about pigs because I love them so much. What else? Oh, one of the things that I wrote down, just as far as like before I get into like specific characters, was I love that they kept the essence of every character.
Yes.
And the only changes, with the exception of one, the only changes that they made to the characters were kind of just to enhance what made them funny. So like with Timon, he was already a little snappy and he had this like over the top like I'm the smartest guy in the room kind of thing, and they just went full out with that. And like again with Billy playing him, it was just perfect because he went out and like if you know Billy, you know he has like this sass to his voice, and he brought that to Timon, and which made it funnier to me because some of the stuff he was saying, you would just expect him to say, you know.
It also wouldn't surprise me if a lot of his and Seth Rogen's lines were improvised.
Yeah.
And you find out they improvised them.
Yeah. And again, with Seth Rogen, because Seth Rogen sounds so much like the original character, you like love that. And he wasn't a singer. He wasn't a singer. Because Pumbaa in the original one, even though he sang over the top, he wasn't a singer. Yeah. He was not a singer. No. He was not. But he brought like his essence to the character as well. So
even on that part, he did like a play on that where he was just singing very badly, but he was trying to
he was trying to do it like operatically, and I was like, no.
And even the other characters were just like
they were like, what are you doing? So that was nice. Again with Nala, they gave her a bit more speaking. You got to see more of her character.
Oh, a lot
which
more.
Was like enhancing. And shout out to Beyonce because people were coming for you because
they didn't like the way that she said you're a king.
Not even that. They just weren't sure Beyonce was going to bring the acting to the role with her voice.
She made us want to stand up in formation. Like, you saw Nala become the queen that she is, basically.
Exactly. Like, and Beyonce's voice work was good. Like, she had range in her voice. Like, there were parts when Beyonce was laughing, I even wrote, I was like, Beyonce, wow, we're so lucky. Because she was laughing. I was like, Beyonce laughing, wow, we're so lucky. Because how many times do you get to see Beyonce just, like, laughing and, like, her voice anyway, you know what I mean? And so I was like, I believe it. She sounds happy to me.
And then her extra scene, am I allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. You can rob it now.
Her extra scene, I loved. It shows her sneaking away from Scar and company to go out to the jungle where she ends up finding Simba. In the cartoon, she just shows up there one day. And
she's hunting, basically.
She's hunting. Yeah. And then you find out that she left because... So you find out everything that she ends up telling Simba, that Scar and company has let the private rock turn into wasteland. There's no more water. They're chasing away all the wildebeest. They actually showed that, them physically chasing them away. They weren't feeding the lionesses.
Right.
They weren't feeding the lionesses because Sarabi wasn't putting out Scar. So he was like, if I don't get to eat, none of y'all don't get to eat.
Basically. He was trying to give her that strong 6 seconds.
With his bony booty. Because Scar, one of the things that I will say about this that I love that they didn't do in the animated one versus this one, because in the animated one, Scar's mane was luxurious. In this one, he busted. Like, he looked like a busted lion.
It's funny you said that. I didn't like that.
You didn't?
No, I mean, and I understood why.
Because in the wild, that would make sense for
that
why
type
the younger brother took over, because he would.
Well, it's not just that they would have had to fight and challenge each other out and all that, but like for me,
I'm saying that's why he beat him, because he
was weaker, but also the testosterone, and it's something about like lions. Once the main one takes over, the testosterone, the other one's is lower, so their mane isn't as full. Blah blah blah. I didn't care about none of that. He was Scar. Scar's signature point in being a villain in the main one, he was a sassy, bad bitch. And he was not that in this movie. Like, they took away some of his pizzazz to me. Like, he carried over some of the stuff, but like...
He was scarier in this one to me.
No, so I did put like villain-wise, he was scary, but I still...
It plays him
in
the movie.
Yeah, who's a great actor. It's kind of like my same issue with Jafar. In the Aladdin remake. Some of the key things about he's not as flamboyant, which yes, I do think that that's important in keeping these characters, because that's a part of who they are in their original story, is that flamboyance. And is that if you want to say it's feminine or effeminate, whatever, I don't really like that description, but people would use that. I like that because that's a part of who they are. That's a part of their character. I wouldn't either, but you know what I'm saying? People say that, and that's why I say I don't like that word, because but it's the drama and it's the sass and like that pizzazz, and I miss that. That's one thing I miss. So his mane didn't have to be luxurious, although we know Scar is not gonna be as raggedy like that. Maybe this Scar would. My Scar wouldn't. Okay.
They even took his song and it wasn't as dramatic. They turned it into like almost like a spoken word. Like he was like, be prepared.
I wrote, be prepared was a letdown for me personally.
Because it was almost like a rally for him. Like, and I understood why they did that, because he's rallying the hyenas.
But the original song was a rally too. So it's one of those things where this Scar couldn't deliver that. Be prepared. And Be Prepared is literally like everybody else, like, oh, I just can't wait to be king of Hakuna Matata. No, Be Prepared is my jam. Because there's a particular part that I talk about whenever I sing that song that has to do with what I'm talking about with their character. It's like when he's singing, he's like walking, and then he's like, a tickling there, it's trickling there. You know what I mean? And he like does this emotion, and
I think they did his whole song. It was just parts
They cut
of
it. They cut it for sure. Well, they couldn't do a whole song with him like talking and rallying, but...
the actor sounds like he had voice enough to do it. Even the little parts that they let him sing, he sounded good.
Yeah, he did. I wouldn't have even believed this Scar to do the song that way.
This is true. So the fact that they changed that made sense for this kind of
like
Scar that they
I felt like he could have been just as bad, just as evil, because Scar was scary even when he was sassy. You know what I mean? But like even some of the lines that he delivered when he was like, I would never think of challenging you, Mufasa. Like in the original, and this one he's like, he still does it with like some sarcasm, but it's still not the same Scar that you like are expecting, if that makes sense. And maybe because I feel so passionately about Scar, like he's my favorite character, so his change to me was not a positive one, where everybody else's changes enhanced their original character.
His kind of changed it.
I feel like not just changed it, but it diminished his character. It didn't enhance him.
But I will say the one part where where Simba talks to him the first time and he hops up on the rock with him and Simba's like looking out saying, one day I'll be giving you orders and I'll be ordering you around. Isn't that weird? And the way he was looking at him behind him, like I legit was scared.
Yeah, I legit think that they took the villainess of him, like they took that and they enhanced that piece of it. They kind of made it almost
like real world, like a real villain that you would meet in real life, like somebody that you might have in your family. No, I mean, like that was put that way.
No, and I agree with that, but I don't think that the original Scar wasn't a real villain. I think he was still very scary. My biggest thing is I feel like the change that they made to him took away from part of who Scar is.
But I wonder
but I say that because the character that's most similar to a Scar is also Jafar, right? And they changed Jafar the same way.
But I wonder if part of the reason of why they did that is because they didn't want to make it seem like effeminate people are evil. Like, because people are trying to be a little more PC now. And a lot of their villains tended to be kind of bigger and larger than life. Like, effeminate, like, ranging on that.
I don't know,
so
because
I'm wondering if that's why. Because I heard that was actually talks for them. Like, that's one of the reasons why they changed their villains to make them less effeminate and more masculine.
But then, so what's that saying? You know what I mean? Like, you really can't win. And I honestly feel like if a character is celebrated, which Jafar is, which Scar is, you should keep the essence of them. Because they did it for the first live action one that they did. The Jungle Book. The panther, the bad panther man.
The first live action one was Cinderella.
I thought Jungle Book came before Cinderella. Well, I saw Jungle Book first, so whatever. That's whichever one came first isn't important. It's the character. So the panther, the bad panther one, and the snake one.
Panther, he's a tiger.
Whatever the bad one is. So I've never actually seen the animated Jungle Book. The first time I saw Jungle Book was
it's just Alba in the new Jungle Book.
Okay, that one. He kept his, from the little pieces that I saw of the animated one, he kept his essence and he kind of had the same thing and he was acclaimed, you know what I mean? Like, he kept, not as far as Jafar or Scar, but like everything about the character, including like some of the things that were just a little bit more like, bitch please. Which is the character, maybe that's what it is. It's like, it's a matter of factness that I liked about these. They knew who they were and they walked in their truth. Yeah. And that had nothing to do with their sexuality. It was just their personality. And I feel like Scar in this movie is the only character who was not like his original self.
They turned him into an incel hotep.
No, I wouldn't even say he was either one of those things. Especially not a hotep.
No.
He was not a hotep at all. But did I still like Scar? I did. I just, if I compare anything to the original one, it would just be the two Scars. Okay. Everything else, I think, even if you compare it, it's all positive because it was all enhanced by adding more to their story than taking away from their story. You know what I mean?
Like I really love the parts with Sarabi and Scar because that wasn't added into the...
Because you never knew why he treated Sarabi like that. I always thought it was just because she was married to Mufasa.
It's because he liked her.
Right. He had feelings for her and she chose Mufasa. I would have too.
Mufasa was... I'm not a furry, but Mufasa.
His voice, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, y'all judge me for saying Max from a Goofy movie. At least he walked on two legs. He wasn't supposed to be a dog. He was just supposed to be like a can talk and walk dog. This was a lion.
I'm just saying I understood why she chose one brother over the other. Okay? I didn't do it that time. You did it. I did. Stop myself.
So that's that. Going into like characters and stuff. I guess like some of the little things that I'll put in, like one of the critiques that I had, and it's really like so small that it doesn't matter, but I have to say it. Was there's the scene when Simba and Nala are going to the elephant graveyard and they're fighting, you know, and she goes Pinja again. it was like it didn't have the same emotion.
She doesn't like push pin him. Like she like how animals pin them. Like they put the hand in the face.
It wasn't even how she pinned him. It was how she said it, because that's what So going into it, I didn't even expect most of the action to look it's similar, because like I explained before, it's a live action animation versus an animation where you can add those human or like over exaggerated elements.
They could have went full cats with it.
Scared. But in like the Pinju, she's just like, pinned you, and I pinned you again. Yeah. It was very like, I'm gonna play, and here's my line as a child actor.
And here it is again.
Right. So, and it wasn't that like pinned you again, because that was like one of the things that we loved about Nala. It was her sass and her like, vigor and her confidence, even as like a young lioness. You know,
because it builds and it into the queen that she becomes.
Exactly, and so to deliver the line without that same like fierceness, I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, and like I said, it's so small and it comes and it goes, so it's not like a big deal, but I did want to bring it up because that's one of the lines that people really remember and quote from the movie a lot.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the leaf thing, the leaf change.
Oh, I have that in here.
Yeah.
Which one? With the hair?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that in here actually. So there were things we talk about in here in the story, and one of the things that I love was Simba plopped down, and animal shed. So a piece of his mane, I guess, or fur from some part of his body comes off and blows in the wind, and that is what Rafiki gets and realizes Simba's still alive, rather than the scent of leaves that he puts into a bowl and smells or whatever. It's like his fur, and they showed like the journey of it getting to Rafiki. It didn't just come in the wind. They went too far, in my opinion.
They did not.
They went too far because it ended up in poop, and they did not have to show that.
And they showed a dung beetle.
They did not have to show that. And not have to show a beetle pushing poop across the desert. They didn't need to show that.
But I liked that because it came right after the talks that Timon, Pumbaa, and Simba had just had, where Timon and Pumbaa were telling him, like, your actions don't affect anything else. Like, you doing this doesn't have anything to do with the animal next to you. And it showed that was a complete lie. But
I think that they had gotten to that point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they made the point already.
But they physically showed it again, and they showed his hair going through the circle of life. Jungle. Through the giraffe, out through his poop, to the dung beetle, to the bird that picked it up and put it in its nest, to the bird mom that was like, F you.
She doesn't like, fit my motif. You to go out and get me some sticks. And you brought me a hair. No, I don't want this. But all that being said, it was fine. I don't like poop, okay? I don't like poop. I don't like references to poop. I don't like seeing it on the screen. I don't care who it comes from. So, like, poop is never funny to me. Like, how it's funny to some people, that's not a joke that I like. So, they could have left it off, in my opinion. I get it, and they could have left it out. So, that was one of the things that I wrote down that I really, really, really loved were the horror elements that they added to The Lion King to express the scary situation in the elephant graveyard. They were walking through, and like Nala is like, we shouldn't be here. I hear something. Rocks are falling. Like the lighting, it was just done so well. And like other scenes with Scar, when they were fighting at the end, when he was talking to Sarabi, when Nala was trying to sneak out, like different things like that. They brought really, really good horror elements to something that never really had horror elements in it. Like things were supposed to be scary, but they were implied. Yeah. And they showed it here, and I just thought that they did a great job at that.
I wish that they would just brought up the fact that Nala and Simba are siblings.
I mean, I think people know that. If you know about lions, I mean, it's one man and a whole bunch of women. Like, how else you think the lions get born? Well, now lady lions have been growing manes to be like, get out my face. Please, leave me alone. Please. I'm good over here.
It's me.
There was one thing. Mufasa didn't call Scar brother before he was murdered.
Oh, no.
It didn't. It's not important, I guess, but then it is. Because it continued. What they showed in the beginning was that regardless of the fact that technically Scar shouldn't be around as another male lion. The Scar shouldn't be around. He shouldn't be anywhere close to being another man. He should be away on his own, or have his own pride. But Mufasa keeps him around because he's like, that's my brother.
This is his home.
Exactly. But then when he goes to get murdered, everybody knows the line is, Scar, brother, help me. This time he was just like, Scar, help me. And I was like, come on, Mufasa. Like,
that happened at another place. When Simba was on the tree, he was like, because in the movie, in the cartoon, he's like, Zazu, help me.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't. In the movie,
he's
he's just like, Zazu.
Yeah, he's like, help is on the way.
But now we're just nitpicking.
Yeah, but I, for me, the brother line, I just think that it helps to continue that even in that moment of like desperation and him maybe not even fully believing that Simba just ended up there.
Yeah.
He's still looking at him like, you are my brother.
My family.
Exactly.
You wouldn't hurt me.
Exactly. And
Scar said,
yeah. He's like, long live the king. Bro, they showed the death twice. They showed it twice. They had to ring it in my heart. They showed it twice. That was something. They showed it twice. And I think that, yeah, there's like, I think that's it. I think
what did you think about the music?
Oh, music-wise, I thought it was great. Everybody was more than capable.
Yep. They even did a little. They had riffs this time. Where
yeah.
They didn't have it in the original one.
Yeah, they did ad-libs and stuff, which was nice. Because at one point I was like, okay, Simba.
And they even had Timon and Pumbaa talk about like, oh, now he's riffing.
Exactly. So they were like playing on that. A shout out to me, Tiffany, and the guy who was sitting behind us during the Hakuna Matata with the three-way harmony. We were killing it in the movie theater. I was like, shoot, they should have got us to sing.
We should have gotten. We could have been a group.
Right, we could have, like the Hakuna Matatas. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like there were very few things we could talk about in a negative way, or even in a constructive criticism way. The only thing that they didn't do for me, as far as like answering the background stuff, is how did Scar get Simba to the gorge without Zazu, Mufasa, or Sarabi knowing that he was there? Because they didn't mess with Scar like that. They're not just gonna let him take his son, and it's not like he had anybody who could send Simba a secret message. Yeah. So you know that I wanted to see kind of how they did, and because they did so much background at that point that I thought that they would, and they didn't, but.
I mean, think that's it. Fan wake certain things, but it would have been nice to see.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's not, and Baby Simba. Oh my gosh,
she's so cute.
Baby Simba was so freaking adorable. Even little kid Simba, but baby Simba that got held up over Pride Rock. It was so cute. I want one. He was so adorable.
He reminds me of a baby Crixus. Monique doesn't believe Crixus was ever that small. He was.
I don't believe that he's not small.
I just picture of him, baby Crixus, right here.
I just never saw baby Crixus, so I have no idea. I knew no idea. Oh, the death scene, the killing scene. Last thing I'm gonna say is I actually liked it better in this one. Like as far as and it wasn't just a feeling. It was. One thing I never understood is how could Scar trick Simba into believing he killed his father when Simba watched Scar murder his father.
Oh, and this one he couldn't
see it. Zazu didn't get knocked. Because that was another thing. Why didn't Zazu say, Scar pushed me into a rock?
Yeah.
And then Mufasa died. This time, Zazu left to go get the prize. So, like, there were really no witnesses to seeing.
Like, Simba literally just saw his dad falling.
Right.
That's all he saw. He didn't even see Scar on the rock.
Right. So there was literally, like, they did a really good job at showing, like, this is how, for all these years, Simba really believed it was his fault and never suspected anything else. And Zazu never suspected anything else. So that was, like, really well done. All right, guys, that is the end of the review. What we're going to go into now are the previews that came before. Let us know in the comments if you want this to just be like a completely different video of like new and upcoming movies.
We can do that.
Because we could do that instead of putting it at the end. But that's what we're going into. So thanks for watching. If you're interested, keep watching. Hey guys, I'm just popping in to tell you that we're going to actually put the previews in a separate video. This one was super long because we did 2 reviews in one, and we think it'll be easier for you if you want to go back and reference any of our upcoming excitement for movies that are going to drop in its own video. Thanks for watching this one, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on all our socials. Thanks. Bye.